Hello, I'm Kat Scott, and this is...
I'm Abbey.
Yeah, and our names may change, but the topic won't. The topic is Killing Eve, and the title of this is what you heard at the beginning of this podcast. Um, usually what happens is if I'm starting a podcast project, and we don't have a title yet, I just reference, here, that what you just heard was, and then we decide after, and then we start at the beginning. So I can either edit that out or I don't have to. Okay.
Movie magic.
Movie magic. So we're talking about the silver screen. We're talking about Killing Eve. Why? Because it's queer. And I don't actually know if we're gonna start from the beginning, if we're just gonna jump in where we are, if we're gonna fill in the dots, what we're gonna do. But we're gonna talk about it because it needs to be talked about. It's important work.
Yes.
Do you have a starting place?
I don't know. I guess What do you prefer? Just going from the beginning, or just kind of
If I can remember, I can pull up Hulu on mute and then
I was gonna say it's been, I don't know, it hasn't been too hot of a second since I saw season 1, but I guess it has been a little bit of a hot second, a lukewarm second.
Yeah. I guess I should have done my research. But yeah, how did it all begin? How did Killing Eve all begin again? I don't remember.
with a lady who thought she was straight. Isn't that always how it starts?
How it all starts, yeah. She was working for... She came in hungover to a lawyer briefing, right?
Oh yeah, because she had been out singing Disney with Bill.
Which was that was a weird way to introduce that relationship to me. I was confused. Yeah. I was like, are they dating? Are they friends? Is this normal? It wasn't it's not something that you're used to. And for a pilot, it's it's a weird loose. It felt kind of like an improv when they're like, you need to be connected somehow. Go. And they're like, oh, you're my boss. And we did karaoke last night and got drunk together. It felt more like once the relationship was established, that would come out. It was weird that out of the gate, because we didn't even know her husband really. We didn't even know. Yeah. So that was confusing.
Yeah, and also I don't know about you, but it took me it took me a second to warm up to Bill, and by the time that I was actually I think I'm really down with Bill as a character, they just kind of killed him off. So in the beginning, I was really wary of him.
That was really frustrating for me as well because, same thing. It because basically the second that Bill came out and I started trusting him as a person, that's when they took him away from me, and that was not fair. I feel like they could have played out his.
Yeah.
I don't know. We talked about this, but I would have preferred if the husband had died when Bill died, and then it was more discovering her weird masochistic queerness throughout the series. I even though I think it's problematic to have queerness be deviant psycho killer behavior in that box, I still would have preferred to see. Because, there also is, the equivalent in, the 50 Shades world. It'd be nice to have, our queer version, and she's, revenge-seeking after her husband, but then it turns into this, queer love chase thing. I would have far preferred that, and after this last episode that I saw with Nico, I was just so over him. I'm like, so I couldn't be. I was already so over him, and now I'm just every time he's on the screen, I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't think he's got much longer to go. Like, I think even they're hinting next episode he dies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and my hope, since they killed off Bill before Nico, which truly a travesty because who fucking cares about that boy? I think my only hope of redemption for that is that Eve just fucking kills him. She's just like, you're my last thread of this like weird life that I'm clinging to, this other kind of even version of myself that I'm clinging to. And once you're gone, I'm like free, and I'm just gonna do my fucked up shit with my new fucked up girlfriend. And that's gonna be that. And that's gonna be the close to a real big chapter of my life. And I'm gonna be the one to fucking close it.
Yeah.
And then she just stabs him or some shit. And then he's her first kill. Wouldn't that be interesting? I don't know. That's like the only redemption of keeping him in here so long.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Because, like, they have been hinting at Eve making a kill soon.
Yeah. I mean, this whole new season has been her progressively getting darker and darker. So I definitely think, they're, hinting towards her just kind of like fully accepting her attraction to Villanelle and actually acting upon it, and B, killing somebody, hopefully Nico.
Hopefully Nico.
I think those are the two things they're leading to this season. Which only 2 episodes left, so she's gotta step it up soon.
I know, season 2s are usually my favorite season of shows, because it's like the momentum of an exciting new series, but with a bigger budget. So like, season 2 is usually like a lot about like, ooh, development and like budget, and like, so they're usually my favorite. But there is a level, there's usually like a season 2 plateau that really frustrates me when it feels like the writers are trying to figure out like, oh, we didn't really think this far yet, how are we gonna
yeah.
So
and and this season was a new writer too. Like season 1 was Phoebe Walker and all that, and now it's Emil Venter, I think is her last name. And not to say that new writer is doing a bad job or anything. Like, I think season 1 was a lot to compare to because Phoebe is, I think, a really, really amazing writer. But I think Emerald, I don't know, I'm bad with names, has done a good job to try and kind of step up and fit those feet into them big old shoes. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. Season 2s are always interesting. They're always very hit or miss.
Well, I wasn't even tracking that there were new writers. I guess I don't pay enough. I need to pay more attention when that happens.
I usually don't either, TBH.
But yeah, that makes sense that there would be a writing. It does feel like there's a different tone, so that makes sense that they changed writers, because it felt like it was going in one place tonally right at the end of season 1, and then it kind of like took this like the stabbing, right? And then like coming into season 2, it felt like they didn't really, well, they did lean into it because there was that weird like doll house episode with that guy. That was weird. That felt a little like off kilter, not quite on brand. Yeah. How did you feel about I had a different thought, but maybe I'll come back to it because I forgot. How did you feel about that love interest that Eve had season 1? I'm just like looking at the thumbnails of each episode right now and forgot about her. She was the girlfriend, like she was one of the assassins. Oh, yeah, and she was just kind of like there and then gone.
Nadia. Yeah, Nadia, right?
Yeah.
Who dumped her boyfriend to go back to Villanelle.
Yeah, and then get killed twice.
Yeah. I think I don't know. Like season one, I think was it was interesting because like in season one they have the whole introduction of the Villanelle and Eve dynamic, but they also have the introduction of just kind of Villanelle's dynamic with uh, other people in general, in the sense of like she's a pretty sexual person. Like we see her with one night stands and like threesomes and all that kind of fun stuff, and we hear about Anna, and then we see Nadia. So I think it's interesting. It was interesting seeing kind of almost the different levels of her relationships, how it's like tier one, just one night stand, who gives a shit. Tier two is like Nadia, who, another assassin who she dated and maybe felt some stuff for, actually relationship besides just, a quick little fling. But then you have like Anna, who she was real into, and you know, and then next is Eve, who's like top tier now. So I think it was interesting, kind of showing those different dynamics of her, at least. But yeah, then she ran her over twice, which in itself was interesting.
I thought she was kind of like, I thought she was kind of a boring choice.
I think like having Nadia be kind of boring, um, and even I don't know, even with Anna, like we didn't see that much of her, and we didn't get that much information from her, and I feel like just getting these kind of little glimpses, almost like heightened kind of how different Eve is. Like you're saying, Nadia seemed kind of boring, and it's like, but if you just juxtapose that with Eve, it's like, well, yeah, no wonder Villanelle is like, well, I don't give a shit if I just fucking murder you. I got this hot new girlfriend, quotes around girlfriend, but I don't know. I don't know. Think that it's interesting how they've kind of stepped, I don't know, how they've kind of just changed how they're dealing with plot versus last season and this season. And I don't know, I feel like I can kind of understand it, and maybe in the big picture, it's one of those things where, like, season one is always usually, people think season one is, like, the best season just because it's, like, the introduction of characters, which is always fun. It's the introduction of everything, which is really fun. And, season one's usually really plot heavy because they have to introduce the plot and everything, right? And then I feel like with this season two, it's less about the plot and more about just developing Eve and Villanelle as characters, and like, I don't know, testing their dynamic and kind of creating this new dynamic and all that kind of stuff in order to go into season three, which I'm guessing they'll pick plot back up, but now it's going to be, like imagine season one plot, but now with this new dynamic that we've developed over season two. So I feel like season two is this kind of it's going to be kind of like the middle interconnective tissue that kind of connects the big plot between season one and three. I don't know. That's just a theory. Mm. Well, yeah, yeah. And even like now, yeah, it seems like they just introduced kind of like, oh, this rich fuck boy, he's a big plot point. It's like, okay, we're like in like there's only 2 episodes left and we're just kind of getting to this. Cool, okay. So yeah, it's definitely late in the game.
Uh, I've seen her like experimenting with like being turned on by Villanelle in the context of
Mm.
her marriage. Like, there's been like sort of two moments where she's like, oh, I just had this like
Mm.
brush with Villanelle. Now I'm gonna try to bring it into the space. And then like, and then like
Yeah.
this last
Mm-hmm.
episode, Nico comes home. He's like, I just saw Villanelle, and now let's
Mm-hmm.
reenact this 50 Shades of Grey moment. And she's like, sick. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is the energy
Mm-hmm.
I'm craving. And
Yeah.
then the next morning, it was like funny, and like she
Yeah.
delivers one of her classic sarcastic
Yeah.
lines that like her
Mm-hmm.
husband never thinks is funny. So I don't know why they do that all the time. She always says something that's like her making a joke, but like you can tell she's not into the marriage anyway, and so it's like It's just weird. It's just a weird thing to witness. And,
Mm-hmm.
by, like, making a joke that she's not into the marriage. Like, that, I don't know, that was, like, that's something that she's been consistently doing. And then he was like, I stayed up all night and I didn't like it. And she was like, what? And then he was like, bye.
She's really trying to convince herself that she's into the marriage, I think. So, okay, so you said that you feel like this season you're not vibing what they're doing with Eve, right? You said that you kind of felt like she was a little, I don't know, like stagnant, kind of, so to speak, right?
Straight people in the context of this show and in general, but in the context of the show, are really boring. And that whole scene, like, where she, like, all she does is, like, ruffle some bras around and, like, break a tiny dancer. Like, that is not, there needed to be more. More needed to happen in that scene because it was, like, her coming over and being like, I'm mad. And then, like,
there needed to be a fist fight. No hands were thrown, and I'm disappointed.
not even violence, but just something, like, psychologically interesting needed to happen because, like, they built all this tension into, like, the awkwardness, and then it just sort of, like, fizzled out, and she was just like, okay. And then she's like, hope you like missionary position. And then she was like, I do. And then that was it.
So I kind of saw that. Ooh, what's my phone? I don't know. I saw that as them just trying to create a parallel between. Because okay, so I think the other thing with this season is it's just a season basically of them trying to show the parallels between Villanelle and Eve, right, and how each one affects the other and has affected each other, and how because they've been affecting each other, they're kind of almost like getting to this point of I don't know, like meeting in the middle. I don't even know what to say. The middle of what? Like, it's not morals. Like what? The middle of good versus bad. I don't know. But I just kind of saw that whole scene with Nico and Gemma as kind of them trying to show another parallel between Eve and Villanelle, because Villanelle had that whole petty, uh, like, not tantrum, but, you know, that petty break into Eve's house earlier in the episode and was like, I'm gonna switch your CDs out. Take that, Eve. You broke my heart. I'm gonna use your toothbrush and I'm gonna, you know, put a banana in your salt. Like, I am a actual psychotic assassin, and this is the revenge I'm gonna get on you, you know? So I feel like it was them just kind of being like, see, look, they're getting even more to each other. See, look how similar they are.
Okay, yeah, I totally didn't even catch that. So, yeah, that sounds like exactly what the writers were doing. But I was just all caught up in hating straight people in the show.
Always mood.
And couldn't see it for what it was, which is distracting. So that's my note to the writers is like, hey, when you make smart choices, it gets canceled out if it involves straight people, because I can't see it. I can't see your interesting choices
because the heterosexual. Yeah, I understand that, and I think that was a lot of people's reaction to the beginning of the episode with Nico and Eve, you know, and everybody was kind of having like whenever they released, because they released like a 2-minute preview, I guess, beforehand. So people like saw it and they were like, "Oh my God, this is the end!" Like, you know, Eve and Nico are getting back together officially. They fucked. This is it, guys. We've been fucking queer baited again, drats. Which I totally understand that thought process because of how, fucked the queer community consistently gets when it comes to media. But then it's like, okay, but I guess if we try to step back and ignore the heterosexuality of this fucking stupid scene and see it as how I guess the writers might want us to see it, or like as the writers are trying to show, it's like, okay, this is, in theory, another step of Eve getting closer to Villanelle, even though it's heterosexual. It's a weird way, and I don't support it, but I get what you're trying to do, I guess. The baseline is just, like, the bottom line here is just fuck heterosexuality and heterosexuals. Just get them out of your stories. They just ruin everything. And just do all of your...
It's so
Yeah.
distracting. I'm so stubborn about it. I'm just
Mm.
like, I can't see what you're doing when you put heterosexuality here, because then my brain goes back to being like, okay, I'm just watching like a straight show, so now I have to watch it through that context.
Yeah. And it's no longer enjoying a show, and it's just like, trying to, grit your teeth through it almost, because it's fucking awful.
I can't really like imagine enjoying Nico and Eve together. I don't know who's there, like who's...
I can't,
because it feels like compulsory. Right, it feels like compulsory heterosexuality.
What audience are they playing
like
to?
They're like, well, this is how it has to be. Like, this is how it has to keep... We have to keep coming back to this. Which I don't understand. I don't understand why they have this compulsion to, like, keep bringing this heterosexual dynamic into it when it, like, hasn't worked from the very beginning, and it's wastes airtime to me. Like, it's like, it's wasting interesting plot. That's why I think he should have died, and it shouldn't have been Bill, and everything would be better.
I'm hoping for next episode. I'm hoping that Nico just kicks the bucket and we're officially done with him, and then there's no more heterosexual anything going forward, which would be so nice. Like, I can't even imagine. But I'm hoping, desperately hoping.
I feel like that will be a really interesting too, because there'll be like people at the funeral, and they'll be like, "Aren't you sad?" And she'll be like losing like her shit because she's like liberated in a way, but has to act like she's mourning.
And and
it'll be complicated.
And the thing with I think the reason that they killed Bill, which I also think would have worked if they had just killed Nico too, I guess in theory, is the whole reason behind it was just because if they didn't kill somebody, if Villanelle didn't kill somebody close to Eve, then she would have kind of like accepted her too easily, you know what I mean? So they had to create that that tension, and so I feel like in the future, hopefully the near future, when Nico dies, I feel like it can't be Villanelle who kills him, because even...
Right, because then they'll never be together.
And that's why I'm really hoping that Eve does it, and I feel like that's the only way that he really could die, which,
Yeah, I guess, like, realistically, they could never be together if Villanelle's the one that kills him, because, like, Eve couldn't be with someone who killed her husband.
Yeah, her husband and her best friend.
I guess. I've never seen it done. I've never seen that done.
Maybe they kill him together.
I don't really know.
If Eve's there and she's like, honey, just fuck him up, then, then it's not bad. Then Villanelle could kill him. But I don't know. Have you seen the preview for the next episode?
No, I haven't.
I mean, they're definitely hinting towards it. They're definitely hinting towards at least like an altercation of something in which Villanelle will probably be there. Like, they show Nico beat up.
Whoa, okay.
And and like Villanelle with a knife. Also, next episode, this whole sequence with Villanelle and Nico, for me, is my fucking favorite outfit that Villanelle has ever been in, because
really?
it hits on like every one of my gay soft spots. Like, she's got the button-up shirt. It's a fucking button-up short sleeve shirt. She's got plaid on plaid. It's like earth colors. It's brown. It's tucked into high-waisted pants.
Wow.
And her hair is down. I saw the picture and I felt my soul leave my body for a moment.
That's how I felt in her little Oxford outfit. I was just like, what?
Oh my god, yeah. Oh.
What? Why? Whoever is costuming Eve is just like my hero. Is like the gayest part of the show. Like, it's truly whoever is costuming Villanelle. I get it confused. I always think that Villanelle is Eve. I also think it's very on the nose that Villanelle is called Villanelle. I'm like, okay, was this a book first? Like, it's like very like yeah. Was it a book first?
Yeah.
This was a book first?
I think it's a book series or something by I think the writer's name is like Luke Jenkins, I think. Who, from what I've seen, is actually a chill guy, which is surprising because I think he's a straight white guy.
Okay.
But from the little I've seen, he seems actually kind of chill. Cool. Which is always a pleasant surprise. But
interesting.
Yeah. I think the reason they gave us that Oxford look that episode was as an apology for the heterosexuality in the beginning of the episode. Like, I really think whoever's doing the costuming knows.
It does feel
they
that
know.
Way. It does feel that way.
And they're just like, listen, you got to go through this shit. I get it. Let me give you something. And so they put Villanelle in that fucking outfit. And they've had such a good combination of like femme and butch looks for Villanelle this season.
Yeah.
I'm so into it.
I know, it's so interesting. It's just like another look behind like what her interests are, because she was in this like weird like children dress when she was being interviewed. She was in that like weird tutu, and I was like, God, I hope this isn't her whole personality. And then like I was hoping it wouldn't be like I have daddy issues and I'm a psychopath. Like I like couldn't I like we're good. I don't like need I don't need like a Lolita like I'm queer because I have like trauma thing. No, like so that's why I'm glad with the costuming. Like she also chooses these very like androgynous like Virginia Woolf like yes okay. Yeah, she just won a BAFTA.
I love it.
She just won a BAFTA.
I know.
Like, yesterday?
Good for her. She deserves it, in my opinion. I think at this point, with her winning that BAFTA, I think, like, every woman in that show, you know, like, reoccurring character has won some award at this point. Like, Fiona Shaw won an award, who, let me tell you, did you know fucking Fiona Shaw, a.k.a. Petunia,
Dursley.
What is their name? Dursley, yeah, is fucking gay. She's a lesbian. She has a wife.
What?
Yeah.
That makes so much sense, though, because she brings such a lesbian energy, and then she keeps having these men around, and I'm like...
I know.
But it feels gay in the way that she's using the men. So... Yeah.
She,
Also, who is that, like, boss of hers? The one that's above her, that, like, who's with, like, the gray hair, who, like, puts her leg on the desk
who is,
and, like, eats chips or something?
Yeah. Or I don't know. Crisps. I don't think we've really...
I really like her.
Really introduced to her. Yeah, me too.
I really like her. When she comes in, and when, Fiona comes in, I'm like, see, we don't even need... heterosexual B-plot. Like, we have enough going on here. We have enough dynamics. We have like across generations to look at here. We have context to work with. This is so much more interesting. We don't need to waste time with Nico. We are just enough entertained. At least I am. I find them so compelling.
I think it's really interesting because we've seen Fiona Shaw's character, who, of course, Carolyn, that's her name.
I love her.
Like, have all these, I know, she's so great, have all these, interactions with men, and, like, obviously they're like, yep, she fucks a lot of men, and we're like, cool, and then they've had, like, 2 interactions with her with like other, you know, women in her field who aren't, you know, Eve or whoever, and it's just like, oh my god. It's like instantly like, men who?
Yeah.
Like, come on. You see these two, like, the ugh, instant chemistry.
I know, it's so good. It's the Kristen Stewart effect, where like the second you bring a woman into the scene, suddenly Kristen's an amazing actress. Who was that? Was Elizabeth who pointed that out. Who will join us at some point on the Killing Eve podcast. But
good.
Yeah, she pointed out we were watching like like New Moon or something, and the like group we were watching it with pointed out that like Kristen Stewart's like awful at acting all of Twilight, like just like so bad until she's in the room with a very attractive actress, and then suddenly she's like really good.
Her A game, yeah.
But it's always like only like a minute scene or something. Yeah, and that's how I feel when Carolyn is talking to her boss or talking to Eve.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, this is interesting.
This is the content I crave.
I do need clarification.
It just needs to be a show.
What? What did you say? What were you saying?
I was just going to say, I just need a show that is just a bunch of women of varying ages, varying everything, just fucking and falling in love with other women. Like, that's just all I need.
The L
and just real
word?
casually, you know? Yeah.
You need the
But,
L word?
Yeah, but I've watched the L Word. I need some new content, you know?
There's the new L Word is being filmed, so in due time.
Oh, God, that's right. That's right. Jesus.
Yeah, this kind of feels like in the same universe as Atomic Blonde. This Killing Eve.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I feel like Carolyn was like gay for the character in Atomic Blonde because that was the right era.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like we could get some crossover.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa! Oh my God! What if Charlize Theron? Oh, what if she came on as like her Atomic Blonde character? What? Oh, it'd be so good.
I would nut. God, what a good cameo.
What a good, like,
Come on.
It fits so well because it's the same like MI6 thing, but gay.
Yeah. I'm telling you, every time we have an idea about Killing Eve, we're like, hey, writers, call us up.
Wink, wink.
Charlize Theron, let's get her.
She's
fucking making out with a hamburger. Let's get it. Let's do it.
She's so easy to contact too. She's probably got nothing going on between all of her Oscars.
I definitely feel like
and indie movies.
And I feel like if they called her and she's like, you know, hello, this is Charlize, and they're like, hey, this is the writers from Killing Eve, she'd just be like, I'm on my way.
Yeah.
You know? Like, whose reaction wouldn't be that at this point?
I want
Like, you don't need to give me details. I'm there.
I want a Charlize Theron and Villanelle scene.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's real good.
I know Charlize would die, but then that makes it, like, less expensive anyway. Because they could probably only do one episode with her.
Yeah. Yeah. I really liked that in this episode we got to see Carolyn and Villanelle interact with each other and show Villanelle obviously be hot for Carolyn, because it's like, well, of course. Like, who wouldn't, dude? Come on. Like, thank you for giving me this content and confirming it, because it was needed.
What scene was that? Because I don't remember it. Was it outside of the bunker?
It's whenever... I don't know. I think it was in the bunker. Whenever Villanelle gets her, like, spy stuff, like her little earpiece or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. See, that's the plot that confuses me. I'm like, when did they all start working together and how? I missed it.
You know, it doesn't even matter. All you need to know is Daddy Carolyn.
Yeah, all I remember from that is a joke about the, like, laser watch. And it's like, do you know how many people make that joke? None of them. Because everyone's a professional.
Because we're professionals. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm into it. I'm still like, I don't like. It's definitely like I look forward to watching it, even if I don't know, even if maybe I don't like it as much as season one, I still very much enjoy it and look forward to it and get excited about it. And it is the highlight of my week a lot of the times. Honestly, I feel very blessed right now to have the ability to watch Killing Eve on Sunday and then Gentleman Jack on Monday. I know Game of Thrones is in there, but every time I watch Game of Thrones, I rewatch the episode of Killing Eve as like a palate cleanser. Game of Thrones is just, blowing off time and getting irritated. But just to be able to, like, have two shows to look forward to is really, really, really nice. I never have that. I don't watch much TV shows. Like, it's really a blessing. I'm very grateful.
Yeah, this whole I feel like we'll definitely do a Gentleman Jack intersection
Mm-hmm.
at some point because
Mm-hmm.
that's exciting new content. We're in like the first couple episodes of that. That's like
Yeah.
brand new.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, for sure.
wow.
Yeah.
And I also want to
And then,
read the Ann Lister diaries at some point.
dude, me too.
I need to like
I
do more
I
research.
read like an yeah, I read an article about it, kind of debriefing, I guess, the story behind it and kind of like what the show is, the points the show are kind of picking up on. It's really interesting. It's really really interesting, and it's so cool that it's been made into a show because I guess it's been trying to like get made since like 2002. Like it's been a long time coming,
Wow.
and it's just yeah, and it's just like the classic like who gives a shit about a lesbian period piece? Like who cares about that? It's like bitch, a lot of people. Like
Wow.
come on, yeah. To think that it's been that long and had has been fought for this long, it's just like Jesus. You really really do feel blessed to be able to watch it.
Yeah, that's like 17 years
Yeah, dude, that's wild.
of being like
And it's also
lesbians matter.
yeah, yeah. Well, and it's so interesting because, like Anne Lister is just such an important, like, historic, not milestone, but historic figure in the sense of, like, people didn't think that lesbians, like, really existed back then. Or at least if they did, they weren't sexual, you know?
Yeah.
And so to have found these diaries that are like in deep, deep detail of this woman who's just like, I fucking love women and I fuck them and I love fucking them and like I want to marry them and all this kind of stuff is just, it's like really incredible. It's wild to think that we had to have this blatant of, you know, a person literally writing diaries upon diaries of how she loves women and fucking women for people to be like, oh, maybe lesbians have like always been around and have like always wanted to fuck. But, I'm glad that she helped clear that up.
Yeah,
It's
I
so.
also like the way that she portrays it because her
Mm
persona is so like so confident,
hmm. Mm
like
hmm. Yeah.
that it's yeah, it doesn't feel like it's this like, oh, I'm just like I have this like quiet secret and I'm mysterious. She's like, no,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just me and I run an
Mm hmm.
estate and I'm like really good at
Mm
it
hmm.
and like I'm actually like pretty
Yeah.
arrogant towards my sister because I don't like the way that
Mm
she's
hmm.
and I like that she's not perfect either. Like
Yeah.
she's like obnoxious about certain
Yeah.
things. You're like,
Mm
whoa,
hmm. And
that's
yeah.
annoying.
She's kind of like pretentious almost or like snooty,
Yeah,
Like definitely not perfect.
I like that she's not perfect, but she's really confident and like it's of
Mhm.
that era. Like it's
Mhm.
yeah, it's like seeing like a Pride and Prejudice, but
I know. I love it. God, it's so good.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Hopefully this will
I'm
inspire
just
like a slew of like fictional lesbian period pieces. Hopefully, like, people will see this and be like, cool. Now let's, like, create a bunch of fiction around it. Because, like, now we have, like, one reference point that's real. Now let's, like, go off.
Yeah, like, oh, people want to see, like, period pieces about lesbians. Who would have thought? Like, guys, please.
Yeah.
We are starving.
I'm ready for it.
Give us this content.
Like, new Vampires, even though Vampires is from 2008. Every time I'm like, oh, this year's whatever, like, last year's blank is this year's whatever, I'm still stuck in 2008. I still think, like, everybody's making stuff about vampires. But, that's what I mean. It's like, last 2008's Vampires is 2019's lesbian period drama.
Yeah. Yeah, I really hope that they take the momentum from this, and they make a movie out of Sarah Waters' Tipping the Velvet book. They made a miniseries out of it.
I don't know that. That I don't know.
It's my favorite book. It's period piece lesbians, Victorian age lesbians, who also like do drag and are like androgynous, and it's really cool.
Wow.
I think I read it in high school or whatever, and I was like, ooh, I'm a baby gay, and this makes me feel some things. It was, and I'd have to whenever I was reading it. So the cover is of two naked women stage performers, and like the picture is it's a picture from like the time period, so it's not good quality or anything. So it's not like, oh, from across the room I'm seeing nipples, but I would always put a book sleeve over it of Sherlock.
Oh my
and
God!
I'd be like, yep, I'm just reading the books of Sherlock, and all of that goodness, and I promise I am not reading about two women fucking in a carriage. I promise. It is all about mysteries.
I was so gay for Sherlock, though. That was, like, really that's what got me on Tumblr. Like, so that's...
Yeah, me too.
I came out because of Sherlock, man. Like,
yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah, dude. It definitely helped me.
He's kind of a lesbian.
Yeah. Sherlock is a character, yeah, definitely a lesbian.
Or is just
Benedict Cumquat is, he's a other entity of his own.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm in the same boat. Sherlock kind of helped me start to embrace the more gay aspects of myself, and got me on Tumblr, which of course also helped me embrace the more gay aspects of myself.
Same. So interesting. I want like a Medium article about this. Sherlock made me gay. 2010, because it's almost the 10th anniversary of me getting on Tumblr. So.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I feel like that means we got on Tumblr around the same time then.
Yeah, around 2010.
That's interesting. Man, we were living parallel lives before we ever knew we existed.
Yeah, my brother was way more active on Tumblr before me. He's always been more advanced. Like, he always knows about, like, music artists and websites, and like, he knows about everybody first. So he was far ahead of me, and his started, I guess, in middle school, and he had like a ton of followers. And he had like Tumblr friends, and I like didn't have followers. I only just like observe Tumblr. Like, I don't really participate. Too. I like it as a diary, and then I like reblog it also as a diary, and then I don't have anybody I'm like feeding to on Tumblr.
Yeah. I think I have like 50 followers on Tumblr, and I feel like
12.
I feel like
and they're probably all deactivated accounts.
That's what I mean. I feel like all of mine, but like 2 are deactivated accounts.
Yeah.
But that's pussy, babe. It happens. But that's okay.
I guess I'm gonna wrap this episode of recapping Killing Eve until next week. I'm gonna stop the recording. But thanks for tuning in, everyone, to our first episode. Any parting words?
Bye. I definitely think it's interesting. I think I saw a quote once from the writer of season one, Phoebe Waller, and she said that like the whole point of I guess season one, or the whole point of the show, or yeah, I guess season one, was to just get these two women alone in a room together, which like that literally is the whole point of season one, right? Like we're just spending this whole time of them chasing each other and getting just these little glimpses of being alone together, and then at the end of the season we get like, oh shit, they're finally like alone, like nobody knows that they're alone together, and then we get the big, stabby stab moment and all that. And so yeah, I definitely think it's different, because it's like we go from that, literally spending the whole season of every event is to push these two women together, to, oh, now they're just kind of like together, and it's not, it's becoming less and less of a big thing. So it's definitely a jump, and it's interesting. Like I said, I'm really interested in what they're gonna do season 3, and if they're gonna kind of push this whole them working together thing, and maybe, I don't know, maybe they go off like rogue together, or, oh, there's my cat, or they're gonna separate them again. I don't know. It's really interesting. I'm curious to see what they're gonna do in these last 2 episodes. I really hope Nico dies.
Me too.
I do like his mustache, though. I will give credit where credit is due. I do like his mustache, and I want to grow one like his. So, I'll leave that with a compliment to him. Good job.
Yeah, so until next week, this has been insert the name of this thing. Cool.